Hello, everyone. Hello, my Renaissance grandma. How you doing? Thank you for being here. Yes. All right, guys. Today's topic is how home and land price is skyrocketing these days. When we look at what actually going on today, we realize that a few years ago, house land was way cheaper than to the wall. And I'm talking about for the past 3 years. For the past 3, 4 years, the price has skyrocketed, especially if you're living in a neighborhood where it's actually developed and have basically everything there. You have the road, you have the location, basically location, especially when you're talking about location. Yes, that made the price even more skyrocket. Hey Fifi Johnny, how you doing? For what I'm noticing, because I'm paying attention, and what I'm noticing, a few years ago, you gotta get a piece of land for a certain amount of price. Maybe 15,000, maybe 10, depends on the location. And in today, these same land, some of them gone over 300,000-400,000. Some of them is, but the price has rise over at least triple, at least 100%. The price has risen. So what? Okay. Great. Hope you're doing well. I'll be listening on the. Okay. All right. No problem. Yes. Thank you. What I've noticed that the price, even for homes, I remember there was homes for very cheap. Only the place that you could have, that the price keep a certain level and do not go down, is the big city. The big cities, the value do not go down. Don't care what happened. The value remain the same. But there are cities that start developing now, and because these cities start developing, the price start rising. So everything is rising. So there's people who was dreaming about buying a home a few years ago, and what happened here has changed. They had us to do adjustment, the time frame. Maybe they was planning maybe the next year we're gonna buy a home, but now this same home you was looking at, the price has tripled. So now what the solution for that? It's really not any, it really ain't no solution. It's, you just got to go back to the drawing board. And I did a video where I did one part. I have a series, but I only did one part, which is the blueprint to real estate success. And that's a very interesting way of becoming a real estate without owing a lot of money to the banks or whoever agency, financial agency that lends money. For the people who actually do, when they see the opportunity, they take the opportunity. These people now is in a position now where they're telling themselves, wow, it's a good thing I made this move a few years ago, because now look what happened. It's becoming so difficult now that people actually start going back home, and you can't blame them. This is why in this time, If you leave in home, leave with a good terms. If you leave in your mother house, make sure you leave that you and your mother or you and your father have a good understanding than just to leave and then leave with malice, meaning leaving where they're mad with you or you mad with them. Why I'm saying this is because we getting into a wall now where people downsizing because not just house getting expensive, we have the food getting expensive, we have the furniture getting expensive, we have the everything getting expensive. Yes, my brother said, Grandma, yes. If you leave in your mother home, make sure you leave and go Tom. So in case anything, they could always open back up the door for you. You see what I'm saying? So because what I'm noticing today, I'm noticing that people actually going back home. People actually going back home now because things has changed. Many people move out for the better, and because of circumstances, it becomes so challenging that people just had us to get back home, and the parents welcome them. Why? Because they leave with good terms. This is important. This is important. Yeah. This is important. Make sure you leave with good terms that everything could be right. Because right now we don't know what's going on. And the thing is, even though you had plans to a few years ago, you see, this is why, guys, when you get to see opportunity, you take. Yes, you take the opportunity because why you take the opportunity? Because you just never know. There was a time when things was really on a level that people were supposed to grab opportunity and people never did. People take stuff for granted. You see? No, what people is actually doing today, like the people in the big cities like New York, California, and them place, they understand something. And what they understand that where they live in, 1 minute, guys. Yes, where they live in, right. They realize that where they live in, sorry for that, guys, they could sell the house where they live in. They could sell that house and go and buy a house in another area with half the money and have more land to work with. So now, where they were living, they were able to sell that house and they moved to another place, another upcoming city where they have house plus land. You see what I'm saying? So people, you have to think and see what's working, and while opportunity coming, you grab them. Because house price is keep going up, rent is keep going up. They're making it difficult today for you even to borrow money from the bank. They're not lending money like that these days because people losing their jobs and they already know what's coming. So they're not going to lend you their finance because it's no guarantee that they will. And I'm going to say something. What does puzzle me? This is what does puzzle me. A person paying mortgage, a person paying their mortgage, right? And a few months they cannot make the payment. And because they cannot make the payment, for a few months, they don't want to give you no chance. They're ready to take the house and put it for foreclosure. And they will take that house and sell it for way cheaper than the price you were paying or the price you making payment for. And that's cool. Why? I'm saying, why don't you just give the person a chance and a couple months more to try to gather the money and start paying again? Why not? They shut you out, oh no, and they tell you got to leave foreclosure. This is why sometimes you got to just start from scratch. When I say scratch, sometimes you got to just start at what you could afford. Yes, you know, what you could afford sometimes. Because what I noticed, and I seen this with my own eyes, I see, because they had a conversation with me, I see people who could have buy house cash out without, and the house was livable at the same time. Mightn't be the way they want it, maybe it need a little updating, but they could have afford the house. They could have buy the house cash at the time. And what they do, the woman said, no, she don't want that house. She want a bigger house, right? Okay, they did not take that house, but then guess what? They end up go for a bigger house where they take the money that they had and make down payment towards the house. And then guess what happened? Guess what happened? They both lost their job. They both lost their job. You know what happened? The house ended up go foreclosure, and then they had us to leave the house. Now they got to struggle. You see what I'm saying? They had to struggle now to start renting. You had the finance that you could have buy a house cash out. You didn't do it because you don't want that house. You see, you want a bigger house. But sometimes what we got to do sometimes, we could buy a small house. It might be the house we prefer. I mean, we might prefer something else. But the best thing you could ever do, yes, the best thing you could ever do, if you could afford it, to buy a house cash out and ain't no mortgage, that's the best thing you can do. Because now you're just focusing on paying your tax. So sometimes you got to, like the older people say, you got to creep before you walk. Meaning sometimes you start out with small. You could start out with a small house. From time to time, you could save some money and put on an addition. You could even put on a second floor if you want, or a third floor if you want. But sometimes it's, yes, sometimes we just want what we want. And we just want it. We ain't got time to build and take time and go to that place and get up there. We just want it one time, one shot. You know, I was watching a movie last night, and this movie this movie was something else. Let me just say a little part of this movie, and let me just say just a small part. I was watching a movie last night, and the movie is, there's a couple, a man and a woman, right? They want an apartment in a nice, big high up in the sky, them skyscraper apartment. And the apartment was a few millions for that apartment. And you know what was the stake on the apartment? The woman life. Meaning, what happened is they have something that could draw your age out of you. and push it into someone else, and you start aging. This is crazy, but it wouldn't surprise me if these things actually start happening. It would not surprise me a bit. Maybe it already start happening. And you know what? The person who was matched, because the woman did match for a lady, an old lady. You know what she did? She had the whole thing set up. She had the whole thing set up. And then they catch she light the apartment afire. And the way it happened like is a candle. So the insurance wasn't paying for nothing. So she had was to give her life. All them years, they suck out of her and she just go down age. I don't want to go more with the movie, but this is what I'm saying. This is the sacrifice sometimes we put ourselves into. You make a deal that if you can pay for the apartment, just like how they take it away from you, what they're doing, they take drying your life out of you, your age. So it bring you down and you get old, and then they push it into whoever it match, and they come young just like you. So this is what I'm saying is, why I'm saying this is the sacrifice we make sometimes when we could take things simple and grow, start out small and build and grow. Sometimes we just want it one time, and that's not a good idea. Sorry for that, guys. Yeah. Hey, Jim's Entertainment, how you doing? What's going on? You see, this is the thing where a lot of people us do. What? Yeah. And trust me, man, these things, it ain't gonna surprise me if it ain't already start happening. Yeah. I agree. I rather build a tent than put myself. But that is something. You see what's going on there? That's almost similar to you able to own maybe might be a 2-bedroom, might be a 1-bedroom. Basically, you want a 3-4 bedroom, but you could afford a 2-bedroom or 1-bedroom. But you don't. You could pay cash out for this 1-bedroom, but you decide, no, I don't want no 1-bedroom. I'm gonna go, and then now you put yourself in this situation where you got to borrow money to buy the 3-bedroom what you need, and then you depend on your job. You depend on your job to help you to make this payment. I mean, sometimes it work out for people. That's cool, but sometimes you got to weigh the situation. You got to weigh it out. You got to remember, you might buy a 1-bedroom house study. Yes, it might be a little uncomfortable for everyone at the moment, but this is your house. Now you have the opportunity to save, to maybe put on an addition, or maybe to save. Meanwhile, this one is building, the value is rising. So maybe one day you could take this 1-bedroom you have, sell it, and the money you were saving, meanwhile, you can say, all right, we're ready now. Let's go for our 2-bedroom now. You see what I'm saying? So now you're setting up yourself, avoiding these banks, avoiding these places where you got to be borrowing, and then if you can't make the payment, then you lose what you work for. Listen to me, you could pay these things for 20 years, 20 years straight, and you lose your job, and you lost everything for 20 years straight. And once you lose your job, you lost everything just like that. I mean, that is, listen, me, you got to do what you got to do. I'm not here to tell anyone what to do. But sometimes it's best to sit down and think for a moment. Some people just, just got to do things a certain way, and I understand. But if you got the chance and the opportunity to sit down and think for a moment, yes, I think it's a pretty good idea to sit down and think about these things. Don't make no one convince you, because when they're gone, when you might be dealing with an agency, when they don't get you tied up, they're gone. You stuck with that. If you can't make a payment, you cannot go back to them. That's your problem. So you got to make up your mind of which road you want to take. All right, guys, I'm back. Sorry for that. I don't know. This internet is really acting up. I'm really sorry, guys. Sorry for that. Sorry for that. Sorry for that. Hold on. Let me see. It's getting more and more difficult now to be able to buy a home. Yes, yes, yes. You are frozen on my side. Thank you, thank you. There's a situation going on in Alaska where rent has gone up so high that people are homeless and living in tents. And there is now a plan to give people a one-way ticket to different. Oh my goodness! Wow, what is going on? This is what I'm saying. One-way ticket to different. Oh, seems like we having connection issue. Okay, all right. Yes, guys, sorry for that. Sorry for that. Sorry for that. But this is a very interesting topic. Very interesting topic today. And I'm actually seeing it happening. I'm actually seeing it unfolding. I'm actually seeing what is actually going on. Yes. It's just getting crazier and crazier and crazier every day. But what I'm saying is, my thing is, and I just want to encourage people that even though there's times like this coming and homes is getting expensive, land is getting expensive, that doesn't mean you should not try to own a piece of land still. You should still try to own a piece of land, because I'm going to tell you something. Land is very important. Land will be better than the dollar. The dollar you have saving in the bank, a piece of land will be more valuable than that. Because you know what? Just look at what's going on now. Everything is rising. Everything is rising. The price is rising everywhere. So if you know that you able and capable of holding on a piece, you should. You should try to hold on a piece, because guess what? This can be your backup plan in the future. This piece of land could turn out to be your backup plan. Your home is important. The roof over your head is important. Also, a piece of land is important. And they're getting more and more expensive. But look in the areas, look in places where you're going to be seeing places now start to develop. Look at places. It's easy now for you to search. So look at places that now start developing, and that's where you search, because what's gonna happen? You might be able to get this piece of land cheap. You might be able to get a property cheap, but once it start developing, the value gonna start rise. So sometimes we cannot just look into the developed areas. Because if you look into the developed areas, this is where the price is going to be sky high, and you're going to feel like, damn, you got to win the lotto to own something there. So what I'm saying is, look into places that now start develop. So when they do develop, say for instance, you buy a piece of land, or you buy a property, a home, or a house, or whatever. Now, you have that, and what's going to start happening, it start developing. Then now we start to see stores coming in the area. Now we start to see, them food place coming in the area, supermarket coming in the area. All these things going to start drive up your price. No, You have the ability now to say, okay, maybe you don't want to situate yourself in this area. Maybe you want to situate yourself in another area. So what you can do, you can say, all right, this property has rise. So let me try, see if we can put this for sale. I'm just saying. Put it for sale, not just to put it for sale and go shopping with the money. That's not what I'm saying. You put it for sale, if you get it sale and you move where you want to live. But there's a trick to that, because sometimes this is why you got to do full research. Because sometimes what's going to happen, you could sell your house in this neighborhood, right? Where you live in. You could sell it here. But in another neighborhood where you want to go and live, this money cannot buy a home there. So you got to really look in and think and research, do your research. Don't let people get you caught up into these things without you actually doing your own research and getting these information, because you could end up stuck. Because hear me now, you now sell your home because you in thinking that where you want to live, the price is triple for the house. The price is triple. So you now sell your home. Say you sell your home for 200,000. Just saying that. Or 300,000. You sell your home for that. No, you want to go and live in a different city. But no, this money that you now sell your home for cannot buy a house. So now you got to think about down payment. So if that's what you want to do, that's cool. But you have to know, before I sell this house, let me look around and see if it makes sense for me to sell this house, or maybe I should just fix it and just live here until I can really make a move without, because I'm telling you, it's getting harder to borrow money. Houses live and come and do it over next time, because this internet is definitely acting up.
And come and do it over next time.
Because the internet is really acting up. You guys still here?
This internet is definitely.
Man, this is so much great good information, but the internet is messing it up. Okay, let me see what CC say. Okay, I agree with that. Land is an asset, yes. That's good advice. Land is a good investment, yeah. Okay. All right. Sorry for that, guys. Well, if it cut off again, well, I'm not even gonna bring it back. I'm just gonna end it, because I don't know what is going on with the internet. But anyhow, like like I was saying, sometimes you got to purchase something. It mightn't be what you see, because I'm gonna tell you something. Sometimes you can buy a piece of land, and that land could become something in the long run that can really help you to get to a house. Okay, because believe it or not, sometimes land price, the value of land rise rapidly, and that comes from the things that comes in your neighborhood, like companies, big companies come in that city. That's it right there. The food, these stores, once big company don't come in as less, there's this potential. And once they come in, you're gonna start see what you're doing start rising. So you have to look into places that they ain't fully developed, but they're on the verge of developing. So in a few years, these places gonna develop. Then you're gonna start to see they have banks, they have supermarket, they have all these things. All that gonna drive up the value of your property. So sometimes you could be saving the money, but the interest that going on and the money ain't really doing anything. You see? But now, if you invest in a piece of land, at least the value of this land gonna keep rising. Don't get me wrong, guys. Sometimes the value drop. So these are things you gotta be mindful as well. Value don't always stay up. Sometimes it go down and it come back up. So be mindful of these things. If you're trying to invest in anything, remember there's times the value could go down and then the value could come back up. I'm sure you guys see in 2008, 2009, a lot of things happening them time there as well. And you see where values went down. But look where it come back now. It's right back up and just keep climbing every day. So there's a lot of things you got to invest into. I have a video, the blueprint. I think you guys should watch that video, the blueprint to real estate. You guys should watch. And this video is about owning real estate without owning any financial agency. Meaning the way you're doing it, you starting from small, but it take patience, it take discipline. It's not gonna just happen overnight. That's one thing you know. But you could build your portfolio up from basically not much. Okay? Always remember, sometimes everything don't happen overnight. There's patience, discipline, within sacrifice within that time to get you up there. So if you go in it, if you go in to real estate to get rich overnight, believe it or not, is not gonna happen like that. It take time to get up there. And the obstacles, there's many obstacles as well. There's many obstacles as well within this field. I'm gonna just say, let me just say this for a moment, because sometimes I'm sure there's a lot of people who feel today that they want to be an investor, meaning they're gonna buying a house and rent it out. Well, my friends, once that's what you decide to do, I'm gonna tell you, please make sure that you have a backup plan. That's all I can tell you. Make sure you have a backup plan. In case the tenant decides in a pain. Because I'm going to tell you this. You could buy a house or you could borrow money from, don't get me wrong, it works sometimes, it works for some people. But I also know there's a lot of people suffering from it today. So you buy a house, you went to the bank, you borrow a certain amount of money to pay for this house. And while you pay for the house, and then you decide, all right, I'm going to rent it to a tenant. I'm going to rent this house and let a tenant pay my mortgage. Well, I'm going to tell you right now, if that's your way of paying for this house, well, I don't know. All I can tell you, make sure you have a backup plan, make sure you have another income coming besides that tenant to focus on this house. Because I see with my eyes, people lose their house depending on tenant to pay their mortgage. I see people lost their house just like that, and it didn't take any time. Because no, you got to understand, the tenant, when the tenant pays you, this is what you use and you pay the mortgage. So if the tenant didn't pay you this month, then they didn't pay you the second month, then you got to battle with them now to get them out your apartment. That might, depends on where you live in, that might take a little while. While you're battling with them, another month pass. Where you borrow the money and receive anything for the 3-4 months. No, they put in this thing for you know what they're gonna do. So what I'm saying is, it's a good idea if you could buy a house and rent it and let your tenant pay for it. It's a beautiful idea. Don't get me wrong, it's a wonderful idea. But make sure that you have a backup plan. In case this tenant don't pay, you able to make these payments. Because if you cannot make, you already know what's going to happen. But it's a good idea to have a house and the tenant is paying the mortgage for you. It's a beautiful idea. But what if they don't pay? And what if they don't pay? What if they start out paying and then something happens, they lose their job, or they just decide they're not paying? Then what? So think about these things before you get into them. Sometimes it looks simple, but it ain't as simple as it may seem. But at the same time, I will encourage people, if you have the opportunity to own in a piece of land or to own a home, grab it, go for it. go for it. If you as a handyman, that's a plus for you. If you as a handyman, that's a plus for you. Because you could go around looking for homes that might be stressed out homes that need work. You could go and look for homes that how home owner is selling. The owner for the home is selling. You can look for these things and maybe they might need work. You could fix that. So that's going to save you a lot of money. So I will encourage you, still try, but know what you're getting into. Ask all the questions you want to ask before you get into it. Don't just run into it blind. Educate yourself about it. Because don't get me wrong, there's people who run into it and doing wonderful today. And there's people who run into it and it's like they run into a brick wall because it did not work out. So it might work for you. Or it might work for somebody else. So I'm not don't get me wrong. What I'm doing, I'm encouraging you guys, whoever, the world, I'm not talking to nobody personal. I'm encouraging people, if you have the opportunity, go for it. But all I'm saying is, do not go with a blind eye. Educate yourself about what you're going into. And the thing about renting and tenants, let me just put it this way. Just put it this way, right? You have a house, right? And you depending on these tenants for for maintain, keep the house, maintain it, pay the mortgage, and you depending on them right there. All it takes, guys, is a few months, and if you can't come up with the mortgage, that's it. So all I'm saying is, think about it, be mindful about it, and make sure you have a backup plan. So in case the tenant didn't pay, you have the funds to pay and keep your mortgage going. This is many people get into real estate without the information that they really need, because many people don't do the research. Many people just sit down and want people to tell them. People only gonna tell you so much. You got to dive in and do your real research. And then when you're buying land, you want to know what type of land you're buying. You want to know what kind of land you're buying. If you want to buy farmland, you want to buy commercial land, you want to buy residential land. The thing is with residential land, sometimes depending on where, you could turn it into a commercial land, depending on where you're located. Not all of them, but some of them, you could go into the city, wherever you are, and you could turn it into a commercial instead of residential. Then if you want to buy farmland, you got to make sure you do your research. You got to take your time and go and see that land for yourself, because the price is going up and you don't want to buy a property that not going to fit. A piece of land that's not going to fit what you want to do on the land. You might want a real animal. You want to make sure the land is a piece of land that fit to real animals. If you want to buy a commercial, if you want to buy residential, you want to make sure the land is walkable. Because plenty land, there's land that run down and slope like this, just like this. And slope, and in much you can do with these kind of land. Yes, you could build your house, but then the yard gonna be in a situation where it's like on a slope like this. So you have to know exactly what you want. And even though you have someone looking for the land for you, you should be present when they find the land, that you could say, okay, this is what I want. Don't sit down and allow someone to tell you, okay, I find a piece of land for you, and yes, this is the right fit. And you just take their words and you never go and see the land. All right? Let me see. Russian leader put and give free land for those that will grow organic food on it and treat others that go jail. Really? Oh, wow. Oh, man. Wow. That's some serious stuff right there, Jips. Wow. Damn. And people ain't playing, man. But yes, holding on a piece of land, guys, is important. Holding on a home is important. And sometimes you mightn't get the home you want, or your dream home. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, that's some cool stuff right there. Giving you free land. Yes. Yes. Yep. Yes, guys. So I'm just encouraging people. I'm not telling you got to do anything I say. I'm just encouraging. I'm just shedding some lights on the things that you could run into dealing with real estate. Just some lights on some things that you could run into, because you could run into a lot of things. You know, you could be selling a home, even though you're selling a home, you got to do your own research as well. You got to look around in a mile range. In a mile range. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you, Fifi. In a mile range, you got to look around. You do your own research, even though you're selling, even you buying. You look on the property, you look at in a mile range, and you look at the square foot of your house and how much bedroom your house have and how much bathroom, and look within the same range, and you're gonna get an idea of how much the property is selling for. So, because they will come and tell you your property worth 300,000 when it's 500,000. You see what I'm saying? So educating yourself will help you, because listen to me, if they could knock you in your head, they will knock you in your head. But once you educate yourself, you're going to make them start thinking different, because they realize, oh, wow, they know what they're talking about. We got to go straight with them. They know what they're talking about. But the next thing again, whether you're buying or you selling, you remember you the boss. Always remember you the boss. I'm buying or I'm selling, I'm the boss. You working for me. You go out there and look for the best price for me. Or you go out there and look for the best house for a good price for me. That's your job. That's your job. Oh yes, the show will pay you, leave and resell. That's it. That's it. So you got to educate yourself, and you can't depend on people to educate you on these levels, because they will not. They will not sit down and talk to you and give you all these details. No. I sorry the internet caught up, but I'm sure I did give some valuable information tonight. And I hope if there's anyone out there who having plans of buying a home, a piece of land, if they hear, I'm hoping that this might help them, help prepare them to make that move. But what I'm saying, guys, if you're planning on getting a piece of land, you better get it quick. You better get it quick. You better look for it now. You better start looking. Because in the future, you wouldn't be able to buy a piece of land. Land would not be available for sale. Land will not be available for sale in the future. So if you hold on peace today, you will be in a good shape in the future. You know, sometimes you sit in on a few dollars and you decide, man, I'm gonna just sit on this dollar. Man, listen to me. This dollar is to invest. That's what this dollar is about. It's something to invest. Not to sit on. It's for you to invest. But at the same time, know what you invest into. And real estate is not the only place for you to invest. There's many other places. But always educate yourself on what you want to invest into. Whatever you try to invest into, educate yourself. Know what you're doing. Know what you're getting into. Do your research on anything. And to the wall, I'm seeing, you know what I'm seeing now? I'm seeing a lot of tiny houses these days. And when I say tiny house, you might say, oh, it's poor people doing it. No. Rich is actually building tiny house now. Because people start getting for realize, no, man, listen to me. I just need somewhere to rest my head. And if you notice now, storage gonna become a big factor very soon. Places where people pay for storage, yes, that's gonna become something huge very soon. Because this is what people are gonna be doing. Have the tiny house and use the storage that they can just go to and take their stuff. Time is changing. Time is changing, and we just gotta get used to it. Storage is already a big factor. Yes, and it's getting way bigger. Because now you see there's a lot of storage. You see building new storage now. I'm see building up. Brand new storage. So it will be, it already big, but it will get huge because that's just what people are going to be doing. Go into the storage and get what they want. And yes, everybody, time is really changing. The world we know is way different. I know a couple of people that downsize and has to rent storage space to keep their belongings. Yes, this is what's going on. This is definitely what's going on. A lot of people downsizing and go into tiny house. Because I tell you, tiny house is way cheaper to maintain than a big house. Way cheaper. And if you have a house, to the people who have house, keep maintaining your house. Keep your house to a standard. Always make sure you paint. Always make sure you check the roof. Always clean out the guttering. Always make sure you maintain the house. Because if you allow that house to go down on you. When I say go down on you, meaning you're not maintaining it, and you allow it to run down, that's going to be a lot of money you got to pull out your pocket to bring it back. So instead of you allow it to run down, maintain it. Keep it in good shape. So you're not going for, if something wrong, it's going to be just something you just fix and you're done. But when you allow the roof to run down, the siding to run down, you know, the guttering to run down, you allow everything, then you got to, this is where you're going to have to push your hand in your pocket and spend a whole heap of money. So maintain it, keep it good, paint if you got to paint, keep your gutter clear, because as not cleaning your gutters could, certain houses depends on how the gutter is. If you don't clean the gutter in, sometimes the water full up in the gutter and start running, getting in. I see that with my own self, my own eyes. Getting in and start going down in the walls of your house. So now that water start, over a period of time, that water start rotting, creating moles, rotting, going down. So that's why it's important to clear your drain. All right? Because it could create, in a few years, it could create a whole situation for you. All right? But like the topic say, homes and land is getting expensive, more expensive and more expensive every day. I don't know what is going on. I don't know if it's designed in that way that people could be losing their homes, on this level. I don't know. But what I do know, something is happening and is affecting many people. Is affecting many people. I did a video about how you could start a real estate and how you could grow and become a real estate agent, not even an agent, a real estate where you have homes. You could start from scratch, but it just takes time. And sometimes you get lucky because, like I was mentioning before, if you put them if you have them in a certain location, because location is the key to real estate. So if the location is right, you could get lucky. You understand? Because the price could go up real nice for you. You know what I'm saying? So location, and that's the next thing. Hi, Destiny says, how you doing? That's the next thing in real estate, location. Location. That's the key to real estate. That's where the money, that's where you're going to make more money. Depends on where your property is. You could have, let me tell you something. You could have a 10-bedroom house in an area, and it was $200,000. You see what I'm saying? And you could get 2-bedroom house in a different area and get 5 million for it. You see what I'm coming from, right? You could have a 10-bedroom house in an area and maybe get 200,000 for it. And in another area, you could get a 2-bedroom and get millions for the house. So it's all about the location. Location is the key. So As you want to be an investor, have an eye for places that's going to be developing, places that you feel gonna develop. Means sometimes you don't all, and remember guys, you don't always make the right decision. Sometimes you don't. But that doesn't mean you have to give up. Just learn from your mistake. If you feel you make a mistake, you learn from it. You know how to approach the next time. So just always remember, it's not always gonna just happen and everything gonna just be nice and everything gonna just be it's surely not gonna be like that. It's surely not gonna be like that, especially when you're depending on people to maintain it for you. That's a problem. You could do that, but just make sure it's a good thing if you have your backup plan. It's a beautiful thing, but just make sure the backup plan is there. In case they fail you, you could still stand up and say, okay, all right, I can hold myself for the rest for these 5-6 months or for this year. But you have to have a backup plan. You cannot depend on tenant or anyone to keep you, to pay mortgage for you. If they could, it's a beautiful thing. Don't get me wrong. It's a beautiful thing. But all I'm saying, for your own good, have a backup plan. If they fail you, you could comes up. You could make your payment, even the fee. While you walking and getting them out your home, you could make the payment till you find somebody else to come in, and you pray that there's good people that are gonna make them payment. There's people who actually live in misery like this. And there's people who strive pretty good for them. But there's people who live in misery with these things. There's people who never have a break. And there's people, one person might mess them up, might not want to pay. But there's a lot of people lose everything they have because they did not set it up with a backup plan. They set it up depending on tenant to make payment for the property. They did not set it up with a backup plan. So anything goes wrong, everything crumbles. So all I'm saying is, getting into stuff like this is a good thing if you're dealing with people who will make sure they pay you at the end of month or end of week. But you don't know who's gonna do it. So all I'm saying is, always have a backup plan. That's all I'm saying. A backup plan is a must. Too much to lose to not have a backup plan. Definitely. You could lose everything without a backup plan. Everything. So it's a good thing, but always make sure there's a plan in place in case they're not making payment. Or maybe they might be paying, but they ain't pay for this month. You have to fit in that slot. Okay? But what I'm saying too is, now is the time. If you're trying to grab a piece of land, grab it. If you're trying to own a house, try grab it too. Own a home, try grab it too. Because I'm telling you, in a few years from now, they wouldn't be available for sale. If you know, if you do your research, and you check in certain neighborhood, you're gonna realize there's actually more renters than buyers. And I'm talking, yeah, because what happened is a lot of investors go in and buy out a lot of the houses them. Yeah, a lot of investors buy out a lot of the house and come back and rent them. So you see who's gonna be owning the house them? Investors. So if the investors own the house them, it's gonna hard for you to get a house to buy because they owning them and then they're renting them to you. So if you're trying to hold on a piece of real estate, we got to act now. Give me 1 second, guys. You got to watch now, guys. Okay, hold on 1 second. Give me 1 second, guys. 1 second. I want to give you guys a link that you can check this video. This is a blueprint. This is part 1. Okay. Okay, I'm going to put this link in the chat. This link, the link I put in the chat, this link is for the blueprint of becoming a real estate, owning land, owning house without borrow any money. So this is a link. The link is in the chat. You could always check that video, and that's part 1. Still have 3 more parts to come. All right? Yes, guys. So what I'm saying is that link, you could tap that link. Okay. Yes, so that two link, that's the blueprint, part 1 of making, owning land, owning house without borrowing any money from any financial agency. But it also comes with discipline, patience, and sacrifice. It's not going to come overnight, but it's a growing process. And growing process meaning you're going to start owning. And then all you got to do is just maintain paying your tax every year and every year you continue doing the same thing, and it's gonna take you there. But that's just part one. I have 3 more parts coming that I will be uploading pretty soon. But this is ways how to get your foot in the door. Simple ways. And you do not need 100,000, 50, you don't need that amount to get your foot in the door. So if you're really interested, that's a video. You should check out part one, and there are 3 more will be coming pretty soon. All I can say, guys, if you're interested, or you and your family interested in buying a house or buying a home or a piece of land, you should start looking into it now, if that's the plan. And don't go more than you can, don't bite more than you can chew. You could always add on, and you could always go bigger. Go with what you could deal with now. And then in the future, you could always expand. But start somewhere that's comfortable for you. Sometimes we got to be a little humble sometimes, and start places where we actually comfortable within ourselves and know that this is where we need to start. Instead of we try to skip over that and put ourselves in situation that we stressed out every day, hoping that things don't go left. Bail yourself, have some patience, be humble, with discipline, and that can take you somewhere. That video will definitely help you out on that journey. And that it works. That's the thing. It actually works. It's just not going to happen overnight, or not overnight. Okay? So is anyone have any question concerning what I know I was talking about? If anyone have any question, if I can answer, I'll answer to the best of my ability. If I can't answer, I would not. If I don't know, I will say I don't know. But is there anyone have any question they want to ask concerning what I was now talking about? Okay, no one have no question? Okay. But anyhow, I hope I'm going to be doing a lot of videos from now go right back to the fall. I'm going to be doing a lot of real estate videos. I'm going to be basically breaking down a few things that if someone interested, they can, at least they have the information, they could do their research. So before they go to the real estate agent to purchase, and remember, you also could look for homes that the owner itself is selling. Because if the owner is selling the house and you could buy direct from the owner, you eliminating, well, ain't much people gonna want you know this, especially if this how they make their living. But you saving yourself some money. And even though you want to sell something, you could list it yourself as well. That make you save some money as well. Okay, so we talk about all that in the future. We talk about that. But I'll be doing a lot of conversation about real estate. Okay? So we're gonna do question and answers as well, where we can only answer what we know. We're not gonna answer nothing we don't know. Okay? We try to give information that make it easier for you if you want to go and get yourself involved in a piece of land or a home or maybe just a rental property. At least I give you the information that you could run the stumbling block you could run into in that area where if the tenant not paying, you will have to find the money to pay. So a backup plan must be in place when you're dealing with tenant. A backup plan must be in place when you're dealing with tenant, or you could end up in serious situation if they're not paying. And you'll be surprised, some of them could be very spiteful. So, some of them don't care. So you got to look into all this. So if your plan is, all right, I'm going to buy a house and I'm going to rent it and I'm going to with a tenant pay for it. Just remember the backup plan. Don't get me wrong, guys. It's a good idea. It's a good idea if you actually could pull that off. That you purchase a house and the tenant is paying for it for you. That's a good idea. It's a beautiful idea. But all I'm saying is have a backup plan in place in case you run into tenants who sometimes you might run into tenants who lost their job. Sometimes you might run into tenants who have no intention of paying. So in that case, and then you know you can't just tell them they got to leave. It takes a process to get them out. So within that time going on, you got to make sure you paying your mortgage. So what I'm saying is educate yourself. Don't just sit down and educate yourself. It's the information, you need it, because once you know the information, nobody can take it away from you. It's something you learn. So house is getting expensive, land is getting expensive every day. If you decide that you want to invest in a piece of land or a home, now might be the time for you. All right? Because it's just getting, and the investors them is who buying out the houses them. Lot of places investors buy them out. And when they buy them out, they hold them for business. They're not selling, they're holding for business. So it could become difficult for you to purchase a piece of land or a house pretty soon. And then if you're depending on the bank, that might be a situation again. They might not want to, you might need to get the finance from them. So guys, I hope this information means something. I hope if it at least, I hope it means something to someone tonight, that they could use it in the future to benefit themselves moving forward into starting their real estate journey or their real estate portfolio. All right. So I thank you guys again for coming out. I appreciate each and every one of you for coming out tonight. And as always, you guys have a blessed and wonderful night. And as always, peace, love, and blessing. And always remember, be positive, discipline yourself, be humble, and do the necessary to make things work for you. All right? So you guys have a blessed and wonderful night. Truly appreciate each and every one of you tonight. As always, you guys have a blessed and wonderful night. All right. Thank you, Fifi. Thank you, James. Thank you, my Renaissance grandma. Thanks, everyone who come through tonight. We appreciate you guys. You guys have a blessed and wonderful night. See you guys pretty soon. And don't forget, we go live every Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we also going to be doing pop-up live from time to time as well. All right? So you guys have a blessed and wonderful night. Peace.